2016. People that like to hear, oh, he's a conspiracy theorist, We got millions and millions more votes. We did much better. It wasn't even a contest. I was telling one of the papers, they said, what was the difference? I said, well, the difference is we did much, much better the second time.
That's right.
But we had a lot of things happen, and we know what those things are. So what difference? Because now in like 48 days or whatever it might be, we're going to do something that will be, I don't think it's going to shock the world, actually. I think the world is going to be maybe prepared already. In Europe, they want it to happen. Even though they would not prefer dealing with me in terms of the economics, they still want it to happen because the whole world is blowing up and they know it's not going to blow up if I'm president here. And honestly, if I didn't do great, if we know what happened and if that didn't happen, if I didn't do well in 2020, I wouldn't even think about doing this. But we did phenomenally well and bad things happened. We're not going to let it happen again. And now I'll tell you, so 2016, a lot of spirit. 2020, we had unbelievable spirit. And then we got let down because what happened should never be allowed to happen in this country again. But I have never seen the spirit like I've seen right now for this race. It blows it away from 2016, from 2020, and basically it's very simple. You're saying what? We're going to seal the border immediately. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Trying to get rid of a lot of that big lump of inflation that this administration has given us. And I have to say that President Biden called me yesterday. It was very nice. We had a very nice conversation. I appreciated that he called about, what happened the other day. And
well, that's nice.
He's committed. No, and today, a little while ago, I got a very nice call from Kamala.
Oh, wow.
It was very nice. It was very, very nice, and we appreciate that. But we have to take back our country. We have to win. Yeah. We're going to win, and we're going to make America great again.
I think it's safe to say that this crowd will all be voting for you.
When I think of this state, it's so sad. Years ago, I was given, thank you very much, but years ago I was given an award as like Man of the Year or something from an area that nobody knew, and the press said, oh, it never happened. Well, then it did happen. They found out where it was, but it was like 15 years ago. A beautiful area, but nobody remembered it. Nobody remembered it all. All of a sudden, like through a miracle, they found out it did exist, and it was there. And I had the speech, and the speech was, "Don't let them take your automobile industry away. They're taking your automobile industry away." And I don't know why I did. Now, I wasn't a politician. I was an entrepreneur. I was a real estate developer, doing great, having a lot of fun, doing a much simpler life than this. Who would think that a developer's life is simple, but it's a lot simpler than this. But I said, don't let them do that, because here I am in Michigan, and I was getting an award, and I'm making a speech. I'm saying, what am I going to say? But I just watched Common Sense. I saw them leaving from Mexico, leaving for China. Do you know that right now, and they weren't building them with me, they weren't building anything in Mexico having to do with cars with me, because I said, if you build it, we're going to put 200%, you're not going to sell one car into this country. Right now, they're building some of the largest auto plants anywhere in the world ever built. I have a friend that does that for a living, very good at it. He's the best, I think. And he's actually a contributor, a supporter, but he builds the plants. And I say, I'd like to go see a plant, a really great auto plant. It's amazing technology, amazing what they do, really incredible, the amount of automobiles they can produce and the size of these things. I'd like to see a real modern plant, and he's the one that does them. And I said, so where would we go? I was hoping he'd say Detroit or someplace up here. But anywhere in this country, I'll take anywhere in this country, right? So will you, my greatest guy right over here. Stand up, will you, please? He's such a great guy. Hi, everybody. We're going to bring him back. We're going to bring him back. We're not just going to keep, you know, you're losing your jobs, the whole thing, but just, so they're building. So I said, where would I go? And let's go take a look at the beauty. He said, well, we'll have to go to Mexico. I said, wait a minute, I'm not interested. No, I want to know here. He said, here we don't build top of the line. We build smaller plants. We build, we just, you know, there's just not that kind of a thing. And I said, isn't it sad? He feels that too. You know, he's a United States guy. But he said, if you want to see the big ones, you're going to have to go to Mexico. They're owned and built by China in Mexico. And there are a number of them going up right now. And they think they're going to make their cars there, and they're going to sell them across our line, and we're going to take them, and we're not going to charge them tax. We're going to charge them, I'm telling you right now, putting a 200% tariff on, which means You know, only consequential presidents get shot at.
Yeah.
When I say something like that, you have countries saying this guy, but what can you do? You have to do what you have to do, right? We have to be brave, otherwise we're not going to have a country left. So what's happening is they're building these massive auto plants, and they think they're going to make tens of thousands of automobiles and sell them in here. No tax, no nothing. It's not going to happen. When you put on tariffs are the greatest thing ever invented. Now, I took in $467 billion from China. Nobody else took in anything, and China's economy is not going under that one. They have not been able, and Kamala, they have not been able to take those tariffs off because there's so much money. And frankly, if they did take them off, this country would be flooded with Chinese cars. You don't have the Chinese cars. We put a pretty good tariff on. It was going to be lifted at some point. Then we had COVID. We did a tremendous job in COVID. We gave you a stock market that was higher than just prior to COVID coming in. And we did a great job. We never got credit. We got credit for the best economy maybe ever. We got credit for having defeated ISIS and having rebuilt our military. We shouldn't have given, Sarah. To the Taliban, to Afghanistan, and I think the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. That whole thing was the most. When we were leaving with me. I was the one that got it down to the right number. We were going to keep the big air base, which is exactly 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. Think of that, 1 hour away, and we gave it up. We just gave it up. One of the biggest, one of the most, we spent billions and billions of dollars many years ago. The runways can hold more weight than any runway ever built. Think of that. They're, I think, 19,000 feet long, which is, you know, 3 times what a normal runway would be. It's called Bagram. And we were going to keep that because of China, not because of Afghanistan. 1 hour away from where they make their nuclear weapons, so that was a good one. We left. And the way we got out was so embarrassing. And because of that, first of all, 13 dead soldiers. I've gotten to know their families. They're incredible families, but they'll never be the same. Many badly injured. Sarah, nobody ever talks about the soldiers that are badly injured. They talk about 13 dead, and we always have to say that, number one, and great families. But nobody ever mentions the fact that some of the soldiers were hurt so badly, the arms, the legs, the face, like obliteration. We left American citizens behind, and they're not too happy, I can imagine, but if they're living. And we also gave them $85 billion worth of the best military equipment, all beautiful, brand new, between the goggles and the planes and the armor-plated cars. We gave them armor-plated trucks and cars and vehicles, and so much. And they're one of the largest sellers now today of military equipment in the world. They're selling this stuff. 777,000 rifles and guns. Think of that. How do you have that anyway? Who would put that? We have 71,000 trucks and cars, and again, many of them armor-plated. So what happened is when Russia looked at that, they said, we're going to invade. We're going to go into Ukraine. If that didn't happen, I don't think, and I guarantee you, if the election were a straight election, we won that election, we should have won that election, everybody knew we won the election.
Yeah.
Putin never would have attacked. But the oil prices got driven up at $100 a barrel. He made money. He's the only guy who fought a war, and you make money fighting a war. But it got driven up because of their bad energy policies. But when he saw that, and you wouldn't have had, think of this, you wouldn't have had, how different would the world be? You wouldn't have had Ukraine being attacked by Russia. You wouldn't have had October 7th in Israel, where that horrible situation took place because Iran was essentially broke. They had very little money, and we would have made a great deal with them. All we want is we don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. Very simple, that's all we want. We don't want you to have a nuclear weapon. We would have made a good deal with Iran. They would have been happy. And I think they're going to end up being very unhappy, but it's very dangerous. They're very close to a nuclear weapon. And the other thing, you wouldn't have had inflation. You wouldn't have had inflation because inflation was driven up by their bad energy policy. And you remember your gasoline started going up to $5 and $6 a gallon. And then what happened is they said, oh, we're going to get killed. We have an election. We're going to get killed. And they went back to my policy. So they went back to the same. What they don't, and they said, we produce the same amount as Trump. Well, they went right back to my policy, or they would have, you would have been buying, you would have had $25 a gallon gasoline. So they went back. What they don't say is, though, I would have been producing 4 times as much. And I took us from third into first place by a lot. But we have more liquid gold under our feet than any other country in the world, including Saudi Arabia, including Russia. We would have been so dominant in energy. We would have, you know, we didn't need any energy from anybody. We didn't have to protect any other countries in order to get their oil, which we've done for many years in the Middle East.
Yeah.
We were energy independent. Sounds so beautiful to say it. We were energy independent. We were soon going to be energy dominant, and we would have been now having so much money coming out of the energy. We just have the best. We have Bagram in Alaska. They say it might be as big, might be bigger than all of Saudi Arabia. I got it approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. I got it done. In their first week, they terminated it. Check that one out. Bagram. Check that one out. No, think about this. Between Bagram, between you go to Anwar, you take a look at the kind of things that we've given up. We should have that air base, we should have that oil, we would have had a whole different country. But to give up Anwar, to give up the biggest air base, military air base in the world, and they left it in the dark of night with the lights on, and they did leave the dogs behind. There are a lot of people, they say, what about the dogs? They left the dogs behind. But we would have been a much different country right now. But we're going to get it back, and I promise you we're going to get it back. This is the world's longest answer to an otherwise simple question, but the difference is I give an answer that's productive as opposed to an answer that is not very productive, right? Like in the debate. Right. But just to end this, we are going to, for Michigan, because we want to be a little bit Michigan-centric. You used to be the capital of the world in cars. Today you're an afterthought in cars. And I don't know the head of your union. I've never met the gentleman, Sean. I've never met him. But what he's done to your union and what he's done by agreeing to allow this country to say we're going all electric, which at some point they're going to end up taking back that mandate because that mandate is insane. They want to go all electric basically by 2030.
No, not a good idea.
For him, think of this, for him to do that, just real fast, you're right now at 25% of where you used to be and heading south because the electric cars are all going to be made in China and Mexico, but they're all going to be made basically in China. We are going to bring so many auto plants into our country. You're going to be as big or bigger than you were 50 years ago.
I think it's safe to say that Michigan is happy that you're going to be president. And Mr. President, we don't mind that you give long answers because you actually have something to say. You actually got something done.
You know, it's a very interesting, Christine. She said, I don't think I've ever said this before. So we do these rallies, they're massive rallies. Everybody loves, everybody stays till the end, by the way. You know, she said that. Well, your rallies, people leave. Honestly, nobody does. And if I saw them leaving, I'd say, and ladies and gentlemen, make America great again, and I'd get the hell out, okay? But I do have to say, so I give these long, sometimes very complex sentences and paragraphs, but they all come together. I do it a lot. I do it with Raising Cain, that story. I do it